In the bitter political vacuum following the First World War, democratic institutions across Germany fractured. Adolf Hitler exploited this instability to dismantle the republic and install a totalitarian state. Driven by a racially based demand for living space in the East, the Nazi regime fabricated a border attack to justify aggression. This staged assault served as the pretext for the invasion of Poland in 1939. Coordinated tank divisions punched through defensive lines, while air support targeted the communications and resolve of the units trapped behind the breach. This mobile strategy shattered Polish defenses in less than a month, as German and Soviet forces moved in to partition the country between them. This new war of movement gave the Axis the power to choose their battles, seizing a strategic advantage that left defenders reacting to moves they could not match. The momentum carried westward. By June 1940, the French military collapsed under coordinated strikes, and Nazi flags hung over the streets of occupied Paris. The ground assaults were reinforced by total aerial dominance. The Stuka dive bomber became a primary tool for terrorizing military formations and civilian populations alike. This sequence of rapid conquests cemented a belief among Axis leadership that their military machine was unbeatable, prompting them to expand the war into the Soviet Union and the Pacific. Seeking dominance in the Pacific, Imperial Japan launched a surprise strike on the United States fleet at Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941. By striking Pearl Harbor, Japan forced the American industrial machine into a struggle it was now equipped to lead on two fronts. Hitler's ultimate gamble was Operation Barbarossa, a massive, racially motivated invasion of the Soviet Union that launched over 3 million soldiers into the East. The initial advance was staggering. The German military captured millions of Soviet prisoners, subjecting them to a campaign of annihilation through starvation and mass execution. This map illustrates the logistical crisis. As German forces pushed deep into Soviet territory, their supply lines grew dangerously thin. Lightning war relies on speed. When the sub-zero temperatures of the Russian winter hit, the logistical system broke. Stripped of their forward momentum, the Germany was drawn into a protracted battle for control of the industrial city on the Volga. Soviet forces turned the city into an urban fortress. The ruins neutralized German armor, forcing street-by-street combat, where tanks were trapped and destroyed by infantry. In the rubble, Soviet squads neutralized German armor and isolated infantry units, trapping the entire Sixth Army in a massive winter encirclement. The annihilation of 250,000 German soldiers at Stalingrad shattered the myth of invincibility and shifted the momentum of the war to the Allied powers. On June 6, 1944, the Allies opened the Western Front with the largest amphibious invasion in history across the beaches of Normandy. Allied air superiority blocked reinforcements and disabled the transportation networks Germany needed to move its reserves, making their coastal fortifications useless. The map shows the two-front squeeze. Soviet forces advanced from the east, while Allied armies were closing in from the west. As these forces converged in the spring of 1945, the Third Reich collapsed, ending with the fall of Berlin and Hitler's suicide. The transition from conquerors to defenders proved fatal for the Axis when they were faced with the combined industrial output of the Allied superpowers. In the Pacific, the push toward the Japanese mainland relied on a grueling island-hopping campaign that extracted a devastating toll in human lives. Facing the prospect of a catastrophic mainland invasion, American leadership made the decision to deploy a new class of weapon to force an immediate surrender. In August 1945, the deployment of atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki brought the war in the Pacific to an abrupt and apocalyptic end. As the military conflict reached its conclusion, Allied soldiers uncovered the final results of the Nazi regime's racial ideology, a systematic campaign of genocide that had claimed millions of lives. To address these atrocities, the international community convened the Nuremberg trials, establishing a legal precedent for holding individual leaders accountable for crimes against. The total defeat of the Axis powers stopped a bid for world domination, but it left a global landscape defined by the threat of nuclear extinction and the demand for international justice.